Hi everyone, I'm Jorge. I'm creator community manager on Gronda, and today I'm going to be interviewing Danilo Cortellini. He's one of our creators, and yeah, he's going to start introducing himself. Hi Danilo, how are you?
Hi, Jorge. Thanks for having me.
A
Uh,
pleasure. Thanks for coming.
it's great. It's great to be here.
So, who is Danilo?
Well, Danilo is an Italian chef, very Italian chef. You can tell by all my hand gestures that I will do today. Um, that I work as a chef for over 20 years. I train in Italy in Michelin star restaurants, work in a few. Then I moved to London and I worked in London for 12 years. I worked both in restaurant business and in the private sector. I did some experience even in a French restaurant. It was a 3 star. And that's why I decided I should stick to Italian food. Um, and then I moved into the Italian embassy in London, and I was the head chef there for a long time. I opened my event business as well, and I took part in MasterChef Professional when I was in UK in 2015, and I reached the final. Didn't won, but it was
Wow.
good. Published a cookbook in 2016, and then I decided it was too much when the pandemic arrived, and I turned into a content creator.
So you did everything, Danilo.
I
You
did
did
everything.
everything you can do. It's crazy.
I
So,
tried my best.
of course, 100%. When did you start creating content in the pandemic? You said.
Yeah, I was up until that moment where I mentioned I run an event business, and of course events were hit pretty hard. Up until the moment, as a chef, I was already creating some content. It was more picture and recipes for a few brands that I still work with because they were like suppliers. We were working with events together, so they also asked me for a few recipes to post online. But it was more me being a developer or recipes for them, and then they will manage the posting, the creation. I was more of the developer of the recipe for them, my name on it, so then they will use it. And during the pandemic, as many of us, more time on our hands. Uh, and the trigger was that most of those brands, they wanted more recipes because people were buying more stuff at home, buying more pasta, more cheese, more rice. They wanted more. Uh, and I couldn't get a photographer during 2020 to come into the embassy. I was there. I was locked into the. I could not get it. It was not permitted. So I took my camera out and I said, "Okay, let's give." I always had like a good camera. I never used it, and I said, "Okay, let's see what
I'll do it myself. No.
I'll do it myself. I have to do it. I need the money. Let's do it." And then I slowly, improved that side, and I found enjoyment in doing it, learning as you go. As in the kitchen, actually, give it a test. Try you test something, doesn't work, you will go back on it. So exponentially, that side of my work, it began bigger and bigger. And here I am since 2020. Now it's a good slice of what I do is creating content.
So you already owned a proper camera.
Yes.
Were you into photography or pictures
Now,
before or videos? Nothing.
as much as anybody else who was on Instagram,
Mhm.
trying to do it, but without giving a real interest, without
So
having the time, spending time to learn how to use a camera.
you started with a good camera. I guess it was like a reflex or something like this.
Yeah, it was a reflex. It's a Nikon with a good lens.
Hmm.
That's also what makes a big difference when recording a good lens.
So you started with the equipment, but don't really knowing how to using it.
Yeah, just the camera. Didn't even have a light or a special microphone. I just had a camera. It was a present. It was actually old. I had it for years, and I started to play around without high expectations because that's that's the thing. Chefs, we know how to cook. It does not mean that projecting that nice dish, tasty dish that you have in front of you, projecting it onto the world on a screen, it's not as easy as it sounds. It's not just taking a picture. You need to work on that picture. There's a lot going on: lighting, the angles, editing. There's actually a lot going on, and without knowing those, you can have the best camera in the world, but you don't really need to have a best camera in the world. You just need to know what. Even a phone is good to take a good picture, and use a window with natural light. So it's not about equipment, it's about taking the time to learn what you have to do and try, make mistakes.
Yeah, this is what you said, that it's very different to cook it than to show it to the world.
Absolutely.
That's something we were discussing also with Keith Pierce in the other video. For the ones who didn't see it, you can go and check it. And it's super interesting because, you know, for the people on the other side of the screen might not look like that. You
You
see
need
it,
to
and you
the
guys do
effort.
it, that it seems so easy to do because it looks like very simple, but then of course I understand that it's not exactly the same, and it doesn't, you cannot smell the dish, you cannot really see it like you see it in person. But I wanted to know also, how did you evolve in terms of content creation, because your content is amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I do my best. Um, it was a journey, a learning journey. But to start with, I think you need to enjoy it. You need to enjoy communicating. I wrote a book a few years ago. That was for me the first learning curve on how to write as well, because there's a lots of storytelling going on with content creation through videos, through pictures, but also through wording. You need to have a tiny bit of empathy. You need to be able to communicate. And for us chefs, sometimes it's so difficult because we're so stubborn. We are could be sociopaths closing the kitchens. So we
Mhm.
need to force ourselves, and we need to. And I think the main thing is to when you want to you want to start this journey, your content creator journey, you need to uh, sit down and understand from the beginning that it's a learning curve. It takes time. You need to put the effort, but also you need to start to consume content, because that's the only way you learn is through consuming content. The more I produce, the more I started to consume, because I wanted to see what other people were doing, not just chefs. Go explore other area, foodies, home cooks, because sometimes there are some brilliant cooks that are not considered chefs, but they've been doing videos for so many years. So they knows how to communicate quickly and effective a dish. And so you need to be able to create your version of this. So you can bring your training. That's what you want to do, bring your chef's training, but you need to be able to catch what's going on in the world. So consuming content was the first step to learn what works or not, and then go and do the work, test. If it doesn't, I mean, doesn't also something else. It doesn't have to be perfect to work. It has to be, yes, nicely made, but it doesn't have to be perfect, because it could be your style of doing things. And then if it doesn't work too well, you can try something else. But don't. Uh, chefs could be over
Yeah,
perfective in
perfectionist,
what it.
like
Yes,
looking for perfection too much. Can be a mistake a lot of times,
is
because
going to
it's
keep you is going to keep you there and stuck with something, while this world war moves so fast. So it's best sometimes to put out things rather than overworking on them, because if you're stuck, you're stuck. The only way to unstuck you is to keep going.
I have one
I
good
hope this makes sense. Yes.
no, no, of course, 100%. I have one good friend that says progress over perfection.
Yes, absolutely.
And not always, but in most of the times it makes sense. Otherwise, it
No,
just holds you
absolutely.
back, of
It doesn't mean that you need to just put out whatever you have,
course.
but if you want to work in this area of business, this is an area of business for chefs that before Gronda was not open to chefs. Now it's open to chefs, because you actually, the creative program embraces the chef community and stimulate them to go out in the world, be a content creator. But we need to put some effort into this, and creating and putting out. We're not in the kitchen. We are not with our brigade. We don't have a inspector from any guy coming and tasting our food. We need to put out content so people can consume. and knows you, and then you learn, you do better next time.
Do you cook your recipes thinking that people will recook them at home?
Yes,
Just
absolutely. I think it's so important to test the recipe. I do quite simple recipes. People that follow me know sometimes I try to put my chefy touch, but it's important to taste the recipes, taste and test the recipe, because you need to be able to write down the easiest way to understand the ingredients, alternatives for the ingredients, especially if you want to limit your content to just a little segment. I always invite people that are not confident, that are not chefs, to give it a try. Perhaps if you can now find this special variety of fish, go to your fishmonger and ask for this one instead. Perhaps ask your fishmonger to fill it for you if you're not confident, but you still want to try it. So you need to be clear as possible, short as possible, even in the descriptions, and because you want those recipes to work. That's the
Mhm.
only way we able to communicate and have some empathy towards your public, but also producing something that works is the only way for people to come back to you. Because otherwise, what's your value? You need to bring value to the table to to build a community, and you will get value back. You will get engaging followers. And when I say followers, I mean, like, it's a community. They will help you if you need help
Yeah,
and you
people who
want
care about you, basically.
people.
People
They do
who are
care.
interested in what you do.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Danilo, I wanted to know also, how do you organize yourself? Because you're still working, you're still doing some consultancy. You're not you didn't leave the chef's work behind and started
I
making
try.
content. You
I
try.
try.
You
Yes, I
uh,
try, but
so
it's
how do you
difficult to
organize
live in the kitchen.
yourself? I know. It's of course it's also like part of your life. So I guess it's
Yeah,
something sentimental as well. Like you want to go out, but then you also like it a lot. So I understand it might be difficult, but how do you organize yourself with the content
well,
creation?
my first answer would be I don't really organize myself, but that is not true. It's a good mix of chaos and planning, because you need to always leave room for improvisation and panic management. Last minute. I have a family with two small children, so it's that also takes into account within the planning. So room for improvisation. Um, Now, for example, I still work in the kitchen, especially to London, and I have some consultancy here in Italy. So I'll try to work within the seasons. Event season is pretty similar every year. So I know for a fact that November, December, October, November, and part of December, it will be difficult for me to create content. So I prepare more before, and then I have some ready. So if you too still have your feet into shoes, um, try to work with try to base your planning. If content creation is your new stuff and you can't really plan that, plan the other side of your business if you can. Uh, and something else that I find it very helpful, especially nowadays, that I have a newborn, so it was difficult to I create content at home. It was difficult to be able to create new content. I'm using old content. The thing is, when you build a good repertoire of recipes, or not only recipes, techniques, video techniques, because you don't have to always post a full recipe. You can just tell people, oh, this is how I do my pasta dough. Then you can use it for 200 things, and you can use that segment of your video, of your recipes. You can re-editing into something else. Just try a new finish. um, and perhaps I find it very useful. Trend changes. So if a video, I like to keep the original audio of the videos often. And if I post something 2 years ago that was recorded over with voiceover with a description, that perhaps is no longer relevant to describe all those steps. and I want to reuse the same video, I just switch some frames, um, and then I leave perhaps the original audio just to give it, a new, how can I say, it has a new vibe. Video, you change the music, it's still valid. I'm not saying you should, don't get stuck. If you don't have time to produce new content, look what you have, what you already have. Perhaps you can mix two techniques and then you have already a new recipe. Or if you, I have, for example, lots of videos of me making the pasta doughs, different steps, and then shaping. I don't have to always refilm everything. If I want to make a new dish, I could just re-edit it, all the steps I have, create a new video, and then just doing the finish line. The finish line means I could do quickly some pasta shape and cook it with a different sauce. But I don't have to film and re-editing all the steps. I just do the final one. I hope this makes sense. I hope this could help someone work with a bit more cleverness with what they do. You don't always have to record every little step. You just need to be clever and make sure you have the right ones.
Makes a lot
Um,
of sense. It really, like this optimization, I think it's great also for the people that, as you say, that are lacking some time to produce content, or maybe not in general, but at some point in their year, or in their career, that they want to create content but they're lacking some time. I think this tip is amazing.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have to use what you have. Because after you've done, if you've done a year of content creation, first you'll be able to, if you look back, you'll be able to tell your growth. Because your style changed so quickly if you produce and consume content, because you're forced to keep the pace with the trends. But also you realize how much you've done, and
Yeah, why doing
keep,
it again?
why doing again, but also keep working on it and keep squeezing the as much as you can, because it took time to produce that.
Yeah,
Use it at full possibility.
interesting, Danilo. Thank you for this tip. Let's talk about a bit the creator program. So,
Oh, amazing.
how much do you like the creator program? No, just kidding. What do you think about the creator program? Why did you start in the creator program?
I it was you guys. You lead me into it very kindly and with the right words, because it was not forced. Um, and I think it was one of those few times that I actually listened, because I like the platform a lot, and it opens up a possibility of being part of a chef community. The main reason why I accepted, I looked into it, it was because there are loads of recipe sharing platform, but only Gronda is known for being what it is, like a community of chefs, and not only consumers chefs, but also creators of chefs. So you find yourself within like-minded people community, and you can learn well. And plus, there's a good chance, there's a good opportunity of growth in terms of following base for your social media, but also to monetize it if you want. Um, and I think you guys are doing a brilliant job into nurturing the newest recruits, as you did with me. You lead me into it, but you explain it how to do it without being forceful, and I find it I find it enjoy also the fact that yes, I know there's a minimum of recipes to post and this and that, but sometimes I'm struggle to keep up, and I repost something I already did in the past, and Gronda is still there. So whenever I can, I will upload more. If I can't, I will just put the handbrakes. Uh, for me, it's been a very smooth process, especially it's not even a year. And in a year, I saw so much growth within the platform in terms of tools available for the content creation. And you guys are asking a lot to us creators what we want, and you actually listen to what we want, which is not a given uh, in this world. And I think that makes it very interesting and easy to work. The whole process is smoother than some other platform, believe me.
what do you like? Like, what specifically do you like the most about the career program? Is there something
That,
that you say, I really love this?
well, I think the fact that you can manage this, might not be open to all creators. Let me tell you this, but the fact that you can manage everything from your hand, once once you understand how you do, how you have to do, you can manage everything on your hand. Publish, post, planning, check out all the insight, reply to messages, and then reflect everything on other app, on other social medias. And you have the freedom to promote yourself. And Gronda gives a lot in terms of promoting creators, not only on Gronda, but on the other social medias, which are important as much, because that's the only way you, not the only way, but it's the way you grow and the way you can have more following and the way you can earn more money, if you want to make a living out of this. This is the thing I enjoy the most, that you work with us. We are not working for the platform. You are working with us. We're working together. That's my feeling.
That's what we try to, of course. Like, I always tell the creators, you're a content creator for yourself. You're not creating content for Gronda. So you're growing your own personal brand. And
Absolutely.
our goal is to help you grow as much as you can, and develop yourself as a content creator. And of course, offer you the platform, or one of the platforms, to do so. So yeah,
Share benefits. Share
yeah,
benefits.
we work for you. That's what you were saying. That I think that really explains the creator program and the team behind it. That's basically what we do. So we develop everything thinking on you, thinking on what could bring you more value, how could we make your life easier to help you become a better creator and a better professional in general as well.
Make the process smooth. I think it's important because we don't have lots of time on our hands.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything helps.
All right, Danilo, so we're gonna finish with one last question. What would you recommend to someone who is starting to create content?
To that's important, is to first, don't be don't be scared in find new side of this food world, which is great. But also do a good evaluation of your position, and because you need to step into this knowing that, as everything else in the world, as is in the kitchen, you need to put time and effort if you want to have results, and you have to be in it for the long run. It's not just one-off thing. You have to be in the long run if you want to have see some results, and do it for the right reason. Don't do it just for the glory, because it's not going to come straight away. Don't do it just for the exposure, because it's not coming right away, or for the money, because definitely it's not coming right away. You have to do it because you want to communicate. It's a platform for you to communicate with like-minded people, build a community, and then once you show your value, you will you will collect all your efforts back. You will be able to have exposure. You will be able to get some money out of it. You will be able, to make your name worth something. But these should not be the reason why you do it. These are uh, collateral benefits. You have to do it because you want to communicate, and it should be taken seriously. You need to be passionate about communicating your food. It's the same thing as you do in a restaurant. You want to people to have a tasty plate of food, but also you want to show your personality through that food. So be truthful also to content creation. When it's coming to food, you need to show your personality, communicate with your readers, your viewers, and be honest. Everything else will fall into place if you put some effort.
Amazing, Danilo. Thanks a lot. That was
I
it.
hope this can help someone, because it's if you get into it, then without knowing, or for the wrong reason, or without reflecting that it needs effort, you're just going to produce a couple of videos that are going to be shitty. No one's going to watch it. You'll be upset with yourself, and you think you lost your time.
I fully agree. 100%. You need commitment. For most of the things in life, you need commitment, but especially for creating content, since it's not something that will bring you benefits right away, as you were saying.
Absolutely.
Danilo, that was it. Thanks a lot for participating.
Thank you so much. A pleasure.
And for everyone that is seeing us, thank you for being here. And yeah, hope you liked it. We see each other in the next one.
Thank you.
Bye bye.